It's something different. It's that voice inside of me. No more feeling empty. No more rushing. No more pretending to be someone else. No more searching. I have one life. I can live an amazing life. I can be free. What if less is more? Less stress, less debt, less of arguments, less of proving your worth, and more of time, more happiness, more peace, more money. That's what minimalism can offer you. Discover how minimalism can grow your business and life. Go to minimalist.entrepreneur.com. Each week, a minimalist entrepreneur with your host, Zurika, aims to connect you with real successful people who share their success strategies that you can use in your business. So, here's Zurika.
Hey everybody, this is Zurika from A Minimalist Entrepreneur. I hope you're having an amazing weekend because out here in New Zealand, it is a weekend. We did have some sunshine, but most of the time it was cloudy. But I have someone on board for this episode that has the most amazing smile. She is full of sunshine. She is vibrant and at the same time, the most down-to-earth person you would meet. And the reason I say all these few adjectives is because when I got to speak to Madeleine, she spoke about her story, which is a pretty long story, but in a nutshell, she enables a lot of us as professionals who actually hang out on LinkedIn, who are wanting to move from one path to a completely different path of how to be able to have success. And also, if you're trying to transition into your own business, what would be some of the strategies that you can use so that you can actually have focus and be on the path of minimalism, but be on a positive path. So with that, let's invite Madeleine on the call. Hi, Madeleine.
Hi, Zurika. It's good to be with you today. It's sunny here as well.
Awesome. And thank you so much for actually accepting my invite.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure.
And I would love to introduce you with all the bells and whistles, but what I think we'll do is if you can, in a few sentences, explain what you do for a living, that'll be awesome.
Sure. I've been working now for 15 years as a life and business coach and basically helping people who want to make their lives better, their careers or their businesses better, to actually get rid of all the obstacles in the way, whether it's a lack of confidence and it's a mindset thing, or whether they just need to know something that they don't even know they don't know in order to be successful. And so I've helped people to make a lot more profit, to create businesses that gives them a fabulous lifestyle as well as business success. I always feel that success is really important to take care of the rest of your life too.
Yes.
So I've been very instrumental in helping a lot of business owners, and partly through having to do following my own journey, sharing a lot of the things that have made me successful too, as well as a lot of training and learning that I've gone through to get where I've got to.
Which is really awesome. And what I would love to know is, we do this just randomly on the call. So if I had to ask you randomly one question, which is, what brings you happiness when you are helping someone or coaching someone in their business? What is the one thing that makes you tick every time when you're actually enabling an entrepreneur?
I think it's that they actually start to have fun.
That's
doing
right.
What they want to do. Sometimes, in business, there's so much to think about. There's so much competition, all those sorts of things. But when they start to have fun and to realize they can do it, it gives me goosebumps.
And guys, whoever's listening on this call, that was a question that I asked Madeleine just right now on the spot. And you saw the answer that she gave. It was about having fun. And that's why I feel that she's going to actually add value on this call. So if you are actually looking at transitioning from one particular aspect of your life to the next, this is a moment that you should actually listen to, because Madeleine is going to be speaking about a very, very awesome topic, which is 7 ways to sabotage your business confidence and how to overcome them. Because at the end of it, it's all about making sure that we take the right path. So with that, Madeleine, I'll give it up to you to actually cover this topic, because I'm also interested in knowing what are these 7 ways.
Okay, thank you, Zurika. You're absolutely right, and I think why I chose this is if you've got confidence in business, it's 98% I think of your success. And having coached many people, I've drawn out these 7 things, really 7 levels I would call them of sabotaging your success or ensuring your success.
Okay.
So a lot of people associate confidence with arrogance and overcompensate by being more timid than they need to. And so this is really a model, or, something I can share with you, can use straight away, and it's tried, it's proven, that will help you have a natural confidence, a realistic confidence.
Okay.
So the first level then is at the level of goals. I don't know how many of you are familiar with SMART goals, and that they need to be specific. So rather than I want to make more profit, it's to do with I want to make a turnover of £100,000 this year. And they need to be measurable. You need to know when you're going to achieve them, what you'll see, what you'll hear, what you'll feel. And they need to be achievable. In other words, that they're not so unrealistic that going for them really does undermine your confidence. It's one of those areas that setting unrealistic goals can really sabotage your success because you become discouraged.
Right.
And I think they also need to be realistic, relevant to you, I should say. In other words, really important. If your goals are really important, if you have a purpose and a vision that's stronger than your fear,
yes,
that can really get you through. So, for instance, when I first started out in business, I was very naive. I had no business education whatsoever. I was a teacher. I thought everybody come flocking and so on. And then I suddenly realised what I'd let myself in for.
yes,
And so I had to start making these SMART goals. But what really mainly carried me through is the fact that I so much wanted to help people be successful. It had been a passion in all the things. When I look through all my career, that's been the theme. And it's that, wanting to help people be successful, happy, wealthy, all those things. And I think for all of us, it's for other people, it might be creating opportunities for their family that they didn't have, or it might be contributing to a charity through being able to make business profits. Whatever it is for you, it's important to have it. Okay, so that's the first level. Get that right, and a lot of other things can flow through. So that's the most important thing to start with.
Okay, so just on that, the levels of goals, which is SMART, which is S is for specific, M is measurable, A is achievable, R
That's
is
right.
relevant, and T would be
Timed. In other words, there's a time limit on them. Otherwise, they're dreams, and the easiest person to break promises to is ourselves. But when we set a goal with a time limit on it, it raises our adrenaline. It forces us to gather resources that we don't have when we think, well, sometime.
Yes.
But it would be nice to.
Yes, that's so true.
Yeah, so I think the other thing is to chunk down on those goals. So you might have a goal to make £100,000 in your first year. For some business models, that could be achievable. But it's then to chunk it down, perhaps say, okay, I'm going to have 2 months holiday this year. Okay, it needs to be 10,000 a month. It needs to be 2,500 a week. What are all the things I need to do and get into place to make that happen? And so rather than thinking this mountain of 100,000, you bring it down into a smaller chunk.
Got you.
A more manageable one.
All right.
Yeah. So I think the other thing can undermine our confidence is having no goals, because then we tend to get into that hamster wheel of life where we're just doing the next thing, and not looking up and seeing the vision. Yeah, so the goal level is really important. Then it's thinking about, well, who do I need to be to achieve that goal? One of the things I've noticed when I've been working with people is a lot of people go into business who think of themselves as technicians.
Yes. And to be honest, like when I decided to actually even start thinking of a business thing, it was all about me and having some skills and working in the business, Yeah.
Exactly. And so if you think of yourself as working in the business, whatever you are, an accountant, a plumber, a coach, whatever it is, and you think of yourself mainly as those things, what it does is it causes you to prioritize those things and not move your business forward. And you might even feel like things like selling and marketing are not only alien, but actually not nice. A lot of people think of selling as being something that's rather manipulative. And they mainly think of themselves as an honourable professional, if you like.
Correct.
And I think, and I think basically it's changing that perspective. So, for instance, to make selling more comfortable, think of yourself as a problem solver, and that's what a salesperson is. They're trying to find out, your problem and what solution would best match it. And that can help give us more confidence going into a sales meeting, that we're not one of those used car salespeople that, have all that bad reputation. I'm sure they're not all like that at all. But it helps, when we think of ourselves in the right way, it allows us to do things that we can't when we have a narrow view of ourselves.
Wow, this is a really amazing way of actually looking at it, because I'll give you a very short example. Like the last week, a friend of ours was actually holding a healthy cooking show, and she told us to actually invite some of our friends. But most of us in the friend circles thought that we were going to invite our friends, but we would have to be selling this kind of a cookware. But now when I look at it, I actually think that if she was trying to solve a problem rather than try to sell cookware, which is to help busy moms who are professionals to be able to cook really fast but trap the nutrition, have healthy meals. So if you actually see, rather than selling cookware, she's actually solving a problem, And that's amazing. Absolutely. How you've actually broken it down. So thank you for that.
No, you're welcome. It's such a big leap, and yes, it's such a simple one.
Yes, true.
So thinking of yourself as an entrepreneur, thinking of yourself as a leader, allows you to suddenly prioritize things that you don't when you're just a technician, when you're just a professional in your business. You start to think more about the marketing and the selling, and those are the things that are going to make your business more successful. And I'm not saying that you actually have to always do them, although you might initially start out having to, but at least you start to give them a better priority, and as you become more successful, that supports your confidence.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's two. That's goals and identity, or how we think about ourselves. So then the third level is about what we make important. You could call them our values. Mm-hmm. And I think one thing that really undermines people's confidence is that they make certainty more important than other things. So they make, they'll move if they know exactly what's going to happen, they'll turn out all right, that they'll be successful.
Yes.
And really, what it'd be better to make more important is more about curiosity and trying things out.
All right. So could you please explain this one, which is our values, when you say trying different things and, I guess, creating curiosity? Yeah.
Yeah, so for instance, our making certainty, or our comfort zone is another way of putting it, or our security, more important than stepping out of our comfort zone and trying new things. Inevitably, when you start a new business, there's lots of things you're probably going to have to do that you've never done before.
Correct, yes.
And if you prioritize staying in your comfort zone, you won't get the feedback that you need from your action.
Yeah.
And so then you don't learn. And the other thing that can happen is in terms of certainty, is you start to prioritize being a perfectionist. The perfection. So you spend a lot of time on the colors on your logo and how your business card is going to look, and stress about your website and all those sorts of things. And rather than just put it up there, the best you know how to begin with, and then get the feedback, see if people like it, what needs to change. I know I used to get really hung up on everything, and then the colours and how it all looked and everything, and then I suddenly realised I was holding back earning something. and my websites have gone through lots of transformations and so on, and if I'd waited until it was perfect, I wouldn't have got anywhere.
And this is so true, about moving out of your comfort zone. A very classic example is at work. Sometimes we feel that fear of actually quitting or actually going part-time because we don't know if we'll be able to pull it off in our own business and have clients to be able to support that financial commitment that we have created. And
yes,
what you said is so true, that if we don't even start picking up the phone or sending out an email to our current network to say, hey, this is what I'm planning on doing, can you give me some feedback on, this is the package and these are my pricing, you won't actually get started. Your subconscious actually won't have any direction to go through.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that perfectionism thing, I think, is one of those, it comes from a great desire to be excellent, and I think being excellent is important in business. However, we sometimes don't know what that is until we get the feedback from our action, and it's I suppose it's a bit like, when we were babies and we started learning to walk.
Yes.
And we fell down, and people around us said, "Oh, you're doing great, well done," all that sort of thing. And we didn't know to criticize ourselves, did we? And say, "Oh, that's a failure. Better shuffle around on my backside for the rest of my life." We got encouragement from those around us, and we didn't know that we were failing.
Yes, true.
And as a result, everybody can walk.
That's right. Yeah.
So. What I'm saying about that is that, take action and get the feedback. I'll explain in a little bit about how you can do that, because you say, well, that's all very well, but, mistakes are hard to handle. But it's just knowing that if you prioritize learning and curiosity, what can I learn from this? What will happen if I try this? Rather than certainty, you'll get lots of useful information that will ultimately give you confidence if you can just go through the learning curve, basically.
Yes, true.
Making mistakes is a natural part of learning.
Yeah.
And I think that statement actually brings me nicely onto that fourth level, which is about beliefs. If you think of making mistakes as a natural part of learning, rather than it saying something really terrible about you, it's much easier then to move forward in your business with confidence. One thing I've noticed, I know when I first started up in business, people said that to me, it's really difficult in this area to start a business. And I know if I had listened to that, I'd have got really discouraged and got a job and missed out on, fantastic opportunity of doing what I'm doing now. So it's really important to notice our limiting beliefs and just test them.
Okay.
So for instance, instead of "I can't do it," think of all the times when you've succeeded at things that are like that. In other words, find evidence for a more positive view of yourself or the opportunity or the world. What tends to happen if we have a belief is we look for evidence to support it. And so if it's a limiting one, it can be quite tricky to change. But if you write it down, then, for instance, one I've noticed that a lot of business owners have is, I've got to do it all on my own.
Yes.
Yeah, asking for help is a failure.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, I saw a really nice quote that challenges that belief, which is, life's too short to make all mistakes on my own, all the mistakes I could make.
Yes. So true. I mean, but if you have a limiting belief where, you want to make a lot of money, but for some reason, your belief set is, oh my God, I don't have enough cash to be able to advertise, or oh my God, I don't have enough cash to be able to go for this event. So you're stopping yourself from actually going for future opportunities. How would you tackle that situation?
I think there are two, whenever we have a doubt thought or a limiting thought, there are two things that we can do about that. One is to think, well, what do I need to believe instead? So taking your example, I need to believe that actually there will be resources out there that can help me, even if I haven't got loads of money to invest. And then your next question could be, well, okay, so if I believe that, what evidence out there, or how can I make that true? And so you might start looking at grants. You might start looking at bartering your services, so that you exchange your expertise. Say you're selling expertise for somebody else's marketing expertise, or your accountancy expertise for somebody's selling expertise, that kind of thing. So you start to, once you allow that it might be possible, then your mind starts to go into funnel vision instead of tunnel vision, and you start to see resources you didn't see before.
I mean, this is so amazing that you're actually saying it this way, because sometimes we get so blinded, we just come to a thick wall and say, oh, I won't be able to actually find anyone, or it's going to be me, And the classic example, and this is for real, I mean, I can actually see this now, is that we wanted to be able to have an intro before every audio. And I just thought, oh my God, that's going to be really technical, and it's going to cost a lot of money. I don't even know who I will have to approach and so forth. And I don't know, for some reason I reached this blog where they spoke about this website called Fiverr.com. And I went in there and I just put in hey, I'm really requiring some help. I don't really know much about the site, but if anyone's keen on doing this. And one of the students actually wanted to be able to have a proof of concept for his assignments. And so he sent me an email saying, I'd love to actually work on this project with you, and it's just going to cost you $5. And I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. But what you just said is actually real. It's so true. And anyone listening on this call, make sure that you write down that limiting belief that Madeleine was talking about, and then say, how am I going to change this around? Because it really is important. Because I had actually hit a mind block, and you've just actually reiterated how important it is to change that around.
Absolutely, and it's more than just positive thinking. That positive thinking is very hard to sustain, and unless you find evidence for sustaining it. And so, deliberately looking for counter evidence to your limiting belief is really important. And I think it's realizing that they say seeing is believing, whereas actually believing is seeing.
Yes, believing is seeing. I've got to write that down. Believing is seeing. Wow, awesome. So we can now move to the fifth one.
The fifth one, yes. Okay, so I think another thing that sabotages people's confidence is the amateur approach. And what I mean by that is, you think about all the schooling that we go through to learn and to have knowledge, and yet we tend to go through life doing the most important things as amateurs.
Okay.
Whether it's our relationships, or running our career, or running our finances, or running our business. And a lot of people, I think, expect to have success without actually some business training. They think their professional training, their technician training is enough.
Yes.
And so, going into business, there's a lot of skills you need to learn, marketing and selling, and leading a team, negotiating, and what we're talking about today, emotional mastery, keeping ourselves determined, motivated and excited and passionate, even when we hit setbacks. And I think, taking that professional approach to everything, not just our own technical expertise, is really important.
Yes.
And I think the other thing is people are often good at the wrong things. In other words, things like procrastinating and worrying.
Yes, procrastination was my very good friend. It has been around. Now I guess it's a little bit disappointed because I'm actually embracing a completely different friend. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that saying, procrastinate later is a really good.
Yeah.
accent. But really, this model I'm going through could be used just as easily to overcome procrastination, because procrastination is often about not having clear goals, not thinking of yourself in the right way, making the wrong things important, having limiting beliefs that stop you, that it's going to be difficult, or, that sort of thing. So, this is a model that can be used again and again.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that's number 5. So you're probably wondering what number 6 is.
Yes.
So number 6 is the action we take. It's our behavior.
Okay.
And so one thing that undermines our confidence very often is we get caught in a spiral of doubt, where we say, what if it goes wrong? What if they don't like it? What if it fails? What if I look stupid? And that spiral can take us down and paralyze us. And I'm not saying get rid of doubt, because some doubt is quite useful. I wouldn't want to be overly confident about getting into a plane and taking off without having had any lessons. So, sometimes our doubt can, really flag up things that are missing in our strategy, or, our way of looking at things, and that will sabotage us. But I think we've got to convert that doubt thinking. We can do that in a couple of ways. One is to do the risk management thing, which is say, well, okay, if it fails, I'll do this. I'll do my plan B. Or to say, well, what could I do to make sure it's more likely to succeed?
Yeah. So like a
so actually take
strategy.
hold of that thinking pattern and do something with it, which is what it was really intended for.
Okay. Yes. Cool.
Yeah, so that, first of all, it's transforming our thinking. I think there's some quick behaviour things that we can do to give us some confidence. I remember coaching a guy who used to be nervous about going into a sales meeting, and there were some things, of course, the New Zealand All Blacks.
Yeah.
When they, when they go onto the pitch, they do that haka, don't they?
That's great. Yeah.
That's right. So they take whatever they're feeling, they go onto that pitch and then they put themselves in a powerful state, and with their body language and their voice tone and their words, and they feel strengthened, and they don't wait until they've scored a try in order to feel powerful and successful.
Yes.
And I think developing a hacker is a very good thing. And with this guy who's very nervous about sales, what worked for him, because he was quite what I call an auditory person, sounds meant a lot to him, is he found if he played the Superman tune in his head before he went into the meeting, he could access some confidence.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
It's finding what works for you. You don't have to do the full-scale hacker. It could look a bit odd in a business meeting.
Yeah. Yes.
However, just before you go into a tricky meeting or something, say yes in your head.
Yeah.
Can just give you that oomph that you need to keep going.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. For the visual people, having a vision poster around the place to remind you of that purpose we talked about earlier on, and why you're doing it, and what makes it worthwhile, and what's going to be like when you succeed, can be really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other thing is to keep a success diary. I think too often we look at how far there still is to go, and we neglect how far we've come. And I think understanding, really paying attention to the little successes on the way can help you have confidence on the longer journey.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to start my success journal right away because I don't want procrastination to be my friend.
It's a question I always start my coaching sessions with, is what are you pleased with? And at first people find that difficult to answer because they're so focused on their challenges. And then after a while they start to change their perspective and have a more balanced view of their progress. And it's really exciting to see them start to acknowledge their successes, and also through that exercise get a better idea of what success is for them.
Yes, true.
Yeah, it's not always money and material things. Okay, so we're on the last one at last. So the final one is what I would call our environment and our resources. So it's things like, particularly, resources could be time, they can be money. But I think in terms of confidence, a lot of the time it's people. And if we spend time with people who are doubtful, pessimistic, perhaps critical of us, doubtful of us, it can undermine our confidence.
Yes,
and they
true.
say that, so it's important, I think, to have inspiring people around you, people who are going on a similar journey, perhaps be part of a mastermind, where you're meeting with other business owners who also want to succeed, and, sharing that journey with people who, want to make their lives better. And they say your income is the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. And I think it's the same with your level of inspiration.
Yeah.
And confidence, that it tends to be an average of the people you spend most time with. And so really being very careful about who you spend most time with. And, very obviously a coach can be great because they can give you balanced feedback. They're not overly, not trying to say to you, give you an unrealistic idea of your progress or your abilities, but at the same time, they're not undermining you either, and they're giving you a realistic sense of how you're progressing and what you need to go to the next step.
Yeah. And the one thing that I would say to people who are really busy or who have been caught in a situation where they are in a cycle where they're meeting the same people all over again, because maybe it's at work, or if you reach home and your family members are not that supportive, whatever it is, you can have a virtual friend. Like right now, when we are having this conversation with Madeleine, she is your virtual friend. She's giving you something that is going to enable you to make a change in your life. And it's about being able to believe that you are going to meet people such as Madeleine who are going to be maybe your mentors, or maybe that's going to be your circle of influence in the future. Would that be correct, Madeleine?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great point. I like that watchful friend idea.
Yes. And are there any other examples for the environment and resources point?
Yeah, I think also in your own office or work environment, making sure it's as inspiring as possible. Having that vision poster around you, for instance, and just having a tidy office can often help you to actually have more confidence, just because you feel more organized and in control.
And I guess minimalism plays such an important role when you decide to have your own home office, because you can control what comes onto your desk and what you can actually not have on your desk. And I think
exactly,
yeah, and having a vision board with all your detailed levels of goals and being excited about the future, having some positive quotes is gonna inspire you every day. Have some really nice, awesome music around so that you can, listen to stuff. And yeah, it's amazing the way you've actually put it, Madeleine. It's so cool. I'm so thrilled, and I'm so actually excited, because whoever's listening to this is gonna make huge changes and leaps in their life. You don't know how much you've shared. It's all amazing stuff.
No, thank you. It's a real pleasure. It's my purpose in life, so you're helping me fulfill it.
Yes, and for all of us who are listening on the call, maybe you might be listening to this, I don't know, 3 years from now. But what I would suggest is there is something truly amazing from Madeleine. If you go to her website, which is success for, as in FOR, managers.co.uk. If you go to that website, the most amazing thing is that she has an ebook, which is a free ebook, and it's all about the success ladder. So you'll actually get to see the level of content, the level of personalization, and the way she actually explains things. But more than that, I would suggest, no matter which part of the world you are, click on that contact button and actually send an email to Madeleine. And she is a really friendly person who is going to reach out to you. And who knows, you might be on Skype with her and she might be able to get you to that next step in your career or in your business. So again, the website is success for managers.co.uk. And Madeleine, what I would love to do is I want to thank you on behalf of myself, my family, my brother, all the community who have supported me to actually keep going. For all the valuable advice that you've given today. I mean, it's amazing that you've spent so much of your time on something so important. You are going to change someone else's life who's listening on this call.
Thank you. It's been so much fun. I wish all those minimalist entrepreneurs great success.
Yes, and thank you so much. And for all of us who are listening on the call, if you feel that your friend or your family member or someone from your social networks could benefit from this, what I would suggest is please spread the word by either sharing it with that person or sharing it with your social network, because you're not only going to help enable me, you're going to enable the other person to listen to Madeleine and allow that person to actually connect with her as well. So it's on behalf of Madeleine and Zurika from A Minimalist Entrepreneur signing out. Take care. Bye for now.
If you want to live an amazing life and grow a business that serves you, then visit aminimalistentrepreneur.com and sign up for laser-focused strategies discussed by well-renowned entrepreneurs. Be free. Own your life. You deserve it.